Good morning, Dream Club members. This is Karen Robinson, your host for Dream Club, and we are wrapping up 2025. We have three more universal laws to cover in order for me to have completed the 12 universal laws that we are focusing on for 2025. So for October, which I missed, I'm doing it today in this video with November. And the December, I'm going to wait for the December to roll around. So the two that I'm going to focus on today are the law of polarity, the law of rhythm, and the final one for December will be the law of gender. So that will be interesting when I cover and learn about that. This video is a little bit longer than some of the past because one, I'm going to do two laws today, but there are two separate workbooks that you will find in your membership or the emails that go out. I say in the membership, I mean our Facebook group that we have together. Also, towards the end of the video, I'm going to cover some of the exciting things about 2026. So if you have not upgraded for 2026 yet, if it didn't happen automatically, please let me know so we can get that taken care of for you. Okay, so we're starting with the law of polarity. This universal law just simply reminds us that there's two sides to everything, right? In order to have darkness, there has to be light. That's an example. In order for something to be off, there has to be an on, right? And so this means whatever goes up must come down, whatever is down must go up. The two sides of things sometimes can just make us feel so crazy. We so badly want to be on the other side. And if we just lean in and trust the universe, it will happen. It'll just naturally happen because that's how the universe flows. Another way of this on or off, the polarity of sides, is when we feel calm, we can also feel stressed. But then when we're stressed, we can also feel calm. There is times that we've been hurt, and then there's times that we have felt like we're healing. So just remember when you are on the side of the polarity that you're not desiring or loving, there's things that we can do to change that, to enjoy being on the other side for a while. But it's what's really a challenge for us is just remembering that one can't exist without the other. So instead of having those fear of those difficult moments, it's learning the really challenging task of just embracing difficult times, just knowing that the fruit or the joy is ahead is what I want to remind you on. And also every time we're on that side we don't like, that's our stomping grounds, our stepping stones to grow the way we want to grow, to live the way we want to live, to be the way we want to be, right? These learning moments really show us what's possible, what we are capable of as humans with this universal higher power within us. We really get to see what we're capable of. And if we're always living in the light, it doesn't push us to grow to see that capability. Another beautiful thing about learning more about this law of polarity is that if we really study it, we can see that in life, there are a lot of solutions. We just have to open the door to them. Every time there is a failure, there is, or I should say perceived failure, right? Because our failures, again, show us more light to what we really need to do for our success. But every time that we hit that hurdle, that bump, if we just remember that there's an unlimited source of possibilities, that with acceptance and surrender, everything that happens to us, we are learning something for our higher good. Is that hard? I'm not going to say that that's easy. So next, I'm going to focus on just two action steps that you can take that helps you just really get in tune with the law of polarity. I'm also going to share in the membership and email a book or two that you can choose to research and learn more about the law of polarity. So the action steps are when a challenge shows up for you in your life, I want you to just simply pause. Name your opposite truth. I'm going to give you an example. So if you're feeling discomfort in a relationship. The truth is, ooh, what boundary can I strengthen here? What boundary can I strengthen here? And then the second part is practice shifting your focus onto solutions. So if you must, take a moment to feel sorry for yourself, pity for that darkness you're sitting in, if you must. Just know it doesn't really serve you, but it's okay to take a beat. Oh, yeah, this is happening. You can validate yourself. Like, yeah, this doesn't feel good right now. And like, what's my solutions? What are all of my possibilities that I can explore? Ask yourself, what positive possibility exists here for me? What positive possibility exists here for me? And then here's a couple of affirmations or counters you can practice when you're in this space. I am moving toward peace, clarity, and strength every day. I am moving toward peace, clarity, and strength every day. I welcome growth. I welcome growth. How many of us say that, right? I welcome growth, joy, and possibilities in my life. I welcome growth, joy, and possibilities in my life. Try those for a few days just to see what resonates, what shows up for you. Now, those of you who've worked with me, had cognitive behavioral therapy with me, or been on my last retreat, you know that I believe that when you practice affirmations, it's good to do it 90 plus days in front of a mirror, chest out, posture erect, voice projecting, holding your index cards or how the affirmations on your mirror, reading them out loud. You're going to engage all of your senses. It's called kinesthetic learning. And when we do that, our brain really digs it. Our brain gets excited. Ooh, this is important info for me. And then you practice that first thing in the morning when you wake up, around lunch or in the afternoon. And the last thing before you go to bed are your affirmations, feeding your brain with that positive content that will uplift you, especially on your hard days. When you do this for 90 days or more, your brain is going to accept it as your truth. Your brain is going to be like, okay, this is my new way of believing and being. It can be very powerful. To end the session on the law of polarity, I would like to encourage you to do some writing. And so your writing prompt for this is describe a recent struggle, okay? And then list 3 ways it taught you something helpful or moved you closer to who you want to be. So take a struggle. What did it teach you? How did it help move you to be closer to who you want to be? Okay. I'll do an example for myself really quickly. It wasn't a recent struggle. It's been a lifelong struggle of trying to lose weight and keep it off on. And I was determined to do it myself. And then when I opened my mind, you know what? There's a lot of different options right now other than just diet and exercise. What else could serve me? There's the GLP-1s medications, there's weight loss surgery. So I chose a solution for me. And I had this surgery. And now it's moving me to closer to who I want to show up in the world and how I want to feel in the world. And it's not just about image, it's I want to be energetic. I want to show up and be more visible. And when I had all this extra weight on me, it felt suffocating and it trapped me. Now, there are other bold and beautiful big women, but they didn't feel so trapped. And that's okay. But this is my story, the darkness that I was in. And now I'm closer to being who I want to show up in the world by getting rid of some of that excess that I felt trapped in. So that's my example. There are plenty, hundreds and hundreds of other examples in my life of when I had those down moments. It could be with all those frogs I've kissed before I found my husband Tony, It could have been all those dark moments of sadness, feeling rejected. It could be my childhood wounds. It could be when I didn't get opportunities I thought that I wanted. No, but now I know what I didn't have, what I wanted then is because there was something better for me on the other side. So there you are. That is the law of polarity. Thank you. And now I'm going to move on to the law of rhythm. So thank you for allowing me to do two universal laws at once. I thought that just made so much sense where I got behind with October with hosting a summit. And then I hosted a retreat and then I got sick. So those are my reasons for my delay, but I apologize for that. The month of November, the month we're in now, the law that I wanted to focus on is called the law of rhythm. And so, what exactly is the law of rhythm? This is when our life just naturally moves in cycles. So, we talked before about the law of polarity, the highs and lows. There's cycles that say the same thing, the cycles of the seasons of growth and the seasons of rest. This law teaches us that nothing really stays the same forever. So, for those of you that say, I hate change, you really got a big problem there because change is constant, right? When we honor these rhythms instead of resisting them, we build that resilience, patience, and trust in the flow of life and healing. Okay, our action steps. Track your emotional and energy cycles each week. Notice when you feel the most energized and also notice when you need to rest. Plan gentle support for the low days. This is when you're just planting the seeds for really high energy days. Now, planning for the tough times can be super helpful. Okay, so the law of rhythm is what I'm focused on. Sorry, I had to stop for just a second. So when our life moves in the cycles of growth and rest is what we're talking about. And the action steps for that is tracking your emotional and energy cycles for 1 week. Just notice, when do I feel more energized? And when do I feel the need to rest? We might have a natural rhythm in our day when you have higher energy than other times, or there might be seasons where you feel a little lower. Sometimes I like to say that I'm a bear and I like to hibernate in the winter. And that was really true when I lived in colder state, like the state of Maine, it was really cold. Life just tends to slow down more for people in those colder climates. Okay. The goal is when you know that you have good energy on some days and you tend to need more rest on others, or maybe you're just feeling more depleted, allow yourself to lean into that is one of the solutions. And then maybe that's when you do some gentle planning for what to do on the busy seasons of your life. What do you want that to look like? Create a soothing ritual for those slow down times. Practice your breath work. Lean into hot tea or hot cocoa. Do more journaling. How about quiet walks, those meditative walks where you're engaging all your senses? Let it be a reminder that when you are pausing, you are not failing. They're just a natural part of the growth cycle. Anything that grows, we need those rest times. This is why we sleep at night. Rest is required. Okay, the affirmations for the law of rhythm. I honor the seasons of my life and trust my natural rhythm. I honor the seasons of my life and I trust my natural rhythm. I allow myself to rise, rest, and renew with grace and confidence. I allow myself to rest. I'm sorry, let me start over. I allow myself to rise, rest, and renew with grace and confidence. The writing prompt for this is when you think about your rhythms in your life, this is your energy, your emotions, your relationships, your purpose. Where do you feel most in flow? And where might you need to practice just a little more patience, compassion, or ease? Okay. So again, it's not asking, well, when do you feel like a failure? When you're pausing How might you offer yourself a little more patience, a little more compassion, a little more ease? Right. So again, I'm going to have book recommendations or articles for you to check out. And I wanted to give a little bit of a teaser for Dream Club 2026. Next year, I'm going to do Dream Club a little bit differently. We're not going to focus solely on the universal laws. We're going to look at the healing pillars. My healing pillars are health, mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, energetic health, your relationship health. And then there's bonus pillars, like I like to call abundance, financial abundance is one of them. But each month next year, I'm going to focus on themes that kind of go in line with those pillars to really upgrade and do more quantum leaps in your healing journey. Because most of us, frankly, have healing to do, and not in one pillar, but many pillars of our life. And working on things like Dream Club material is going to help you work on all your pillars, some more than others at different phases of the year. But in January, we're going to focus on new beginnings and how to reclaim hope in your life. February, we're going to focus more on healing through our connections. Those are our relationships in our community. March is going to be more about the energy of healing. So we're going to focus more on our energy healing. April is going to be embodied freedom. So when we talk about embodied, we're talking about the emotions we have stored in our body. So that shows up in our emotional health, our physical health. And then the energetic health is how we move those emotions, especially stuck emotions, out. May is the power of self-compassion. So that pillar is the relationship with self. But when we work on our self-compassion, it teaches us how to be more compassionate with others. June is manifesting joy and abundance. So that's our financial pillar or our abundance pillar. July is healing faith and spiritual growth. So that's our spiritual pillar. We'll look at how to heal from things like moral injury, church hurt, or just feeling disconnected from God and our higher power. August is the summer of self-discovery. Stay tuned on that, but that's going to be more on your in the uprise of your seasons of healing and really want to do some quantum leaping. September, sorry, is about our empowered voices, really learning how to reclaim our voice back, whether if that's through reading, through speaking, or just simply sharing. October, we're going to do some inner child healing, which will help us with all of our pillars. A lot of us have childhood injuries or wounds that we would like to heal from. November is about setting boundaries in our relationships, having more balance in our life, and being more bold, really learning how to ask for what we want. And then December, we're going to learn, you would think I'm going to say something about rest. Yes, that and how to rise and shine, how to really live that dream life that you've always wanted. I hope you're taking steps for that. Thank you for partnering with me in Dream Club. We have one more video for 2025, and then we'll dive into 2026 goodness. I appreciate you all. Kisses.